Alrighty, YouTube, it's time to talk about Mythos and everything going on around it. Yeah, I'm hopping on the hype train. These are my personal thoughts. Usually, I'm just an observer, but with using AI for bug bounties and hacking as well as watching a lot of these content creators, it just makes me want to put my insight on everything. So with all the hype about Mythos, I just watched Low Level. I liked his take. I also follow Theo. He's the main guy I watch with all the LLM and AI stuff, since he's always like on the cutting edge. And he basically just develops as that's his job. So he's able to test all these things. So I've been doing bug bounties for the past 2 months using AI. They have been useful. I have found a fair amount of bugs with them, mostly low and mediums. Like I said, I'm kind of new with this bug bounties and hacking stuff, but I have been in the cybersecurity space for a while. So what I think about Mythos and everything like that, I don't think it's as big of a deal compared to what everybody thinks. Why I say that is I think it's due to the harness, how they possibly set up these tests. Like they said, they don't explain how everything was set up. I actually found a bug relatively to this that's still being looked at, triaged. I'm not going to go into details, obviously, but I don't think it's as crazy as people think. I do think the tooling is getting better. I do think it depends on the harness. I watch a lot of content creators. So like I said, I watch Theo, Low Level. I watch ThePrimeagen a lot. How he uses AI just makes me think possibly that's how everybody else in the world uses it. Make no mistakes. Fix this, make no mistakes. And I watch a lot of Pete's interviews, Steinberg, the creator of OpenClaw. And as you can tell recently, Claude has been taking a lot of inspiration from OpenClaw because of it. So why I don't think the Mythos is that big of a deal. I remember watching the Peter Steinberger interview, and he basically told OpenClaw, hey, you're in the Stalker creator. Do whatever you got to do to do anything. So was it Multi is what he calls his bot? I don't know, but he basically created his own shoddy curl inside the Docker container.
Like suddenly it was like in this little tiny Arch Linux Docker thing, and I asked it something like, go check out the web, and it was like, Peter, there's no curl here, and then like, there's literally nothing here. Put me in a sad little box. I'm sad lobster now. And I felt sad like for like putting it in this little box, and it was like, yeah, it might be a better idea, but I can't do anything. And I'm like, come on, like, be creative. You can make your own curl. It was like trying a whole bunch of things, and then it wrote lobster curl 0.1, which like it found some C compiler and like some socket where like it just opens things and it could like read websites, and it was so happy.
It just depends on the person and how they set up the harness, the memory, how you set up your agent MD and everything like that. Because obviously we know about the Claude's C compiler and how that was, right? So I'm just saying
wrong. All right, so to say that all in a quick sentence, they started a project from scratch, having every single conceivable test and a way to test it under all conditions. They had an online version of it, GCC Online, to be able to call out to validate everything they've done. And lastly, they couldn't actually make Linux boot because they were unable to produce an artifact small enough. So they built a compiler completely from scratch in 2 weeks, and they just had to walk away. Okay, they also couldn't walk away during those 2 weeks because sometimes it did things and it would crash itself, and we had to restart it and make sure things were working. Now that's what I call from scratch.
I don't think it's that crazy. I do think it's getting better. You also have to think about how they're just training off of all of our data. So me, I've already submitted a lot of bugs. I submit even more, and all that. I watch a lot of the critical thinking podcast as well, and I'm thinking about all of them. They're finding crits like crazy.
Back whenever AI was like getting a little bit better at coding, and it was like getting better at image gen and video gen, you know, I was always like in there hyping it up as the hype man that I am. But I would get some pushback, you know, like, oh, I can definitely tell this is AI and that sort of thing. And it eventually kind of passed. You know, of course, you can still tell sometimes when things are AI, but it is getting harder. But anyways, now that discussion has now kind of moved into, over the last like week or two, can AI hack things, right? And I'm sure if you're on X at all, you've probably seen all these discussions. People are blowing up tweets like, I found this with Claude Code and I found that with Claude Code. And it's brought out, in my opinion, the thoughts that I often feel compelled to believe are things like, even my grandma could do it, right? And there was some like really cheesy AI slop about my grandma finding a bug, you know, not literally mine, but the person who was posting it. And I think that I tend to overestimate what other people can do, especially people who don't have our skill set for like our understanding for how we see bug bounty, how we see life, how we see coding, how we see servers. And in fact, you know, in building like small AI apps for just like friends and family, when someone says thank you, I'm like, don't worry about it. Claude did it. And my wife's like, stop saying that. Like, sure, that's kind of true, but you know how to host a server. You know how to tell it what to do. You know, like how it should build it. And then when things don't work, you know how to fix it. Like you're basically leveraging all of your technical expertise to like actually make this possible. Right.
Okay.
And so
I kind of disagree with that though, dude. Like I totally, I agree with you, but like Claude can also do the hosting now. Like you can literally just say like, host it. Yes. You know, and then it will go do that. You know, I did that for the Zero Trust World thing.
Yes,
I was like,
but when you say host it, it's going to say like, where do you mean to host it, right? And so like for somebody who's non-technical, it's going to say like, okay, well, do you have a virtual server anywhere? And when grandma says no, it's going to be like, okay, well, you need to go sign up on this website, right? And then get me an API key. It's like we know what API keys are. We know how to sign up for websites. We know, and like that is a low barrier to entry. But what I'm trying to say here is I think that. When I say, you know, kind of anyone can do it, I'm talking about like anyone with knowledge of APIs and servers and who has done some hacking, right? And at that point, I think I'm 1000% correct. But I don't think that like anyone can do it, right?
They're better than me, and I'm already finding some bugs with Opus and all that. So just think they're training off of all this data. So I think it is going to be better. It also depends on the people that use it. Because if you have people like ThePrimeagen, I'm sorry, dude, but watching you program with AI makes me I laugh so much, and it's just so bad and cringy, which that's part of the content. But a lot of people don't know how to properly set up an Agent MD or a Claude MD, set up proper documentation or evidence logging or anything like that. I personal shout out, I do a lot of personal research on AI and everything. So if you find anything in here, you can add more, you can critique it. I know I'm just a person. But yeah, I did a lot of research on AI and everything like that. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be as crazy as people think. Depends on the people that use it. If you say hack this website, make no mistakes without any proper setup or configuration, you're not going to get that far. I'm sorry. I be watching the Reddit bug bounty subreddit, bro, and they just be saying, I can't find shit. Have you tried using AI? If you don't know how to use AI, that's like another tool that you can use. So yeah, it'll be better. It also depends on how you set it up or how you prompt it, how it's set up, how it's created, all this or that. Tooling as well. So like if it has nothing to use, how is it going to do anything better? It also depends on how the environment's set up. Like they said, it was able to escape a secure environment. How is that environment secure? How was it set up? Was it up to, like, there's a lot of questions that are unanswered. Like I even found a bug related to AI and it escaped, or I was able to make it move. I'm not going to get into it. I'm still fighting with triage. They're saying it's infeasible. Like I said, I've seen a lot of this. I have Burp, MCP, like I'm creating tooling for it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Yeah, it could be very dangerous, but at the same time, it'll also make everything secure, like what Low Level was saying. Who knows? Maybe the next model will be even better than that. And like they said, the more they make everybody scared or outrage, the more they'll be more profitable. Like I'm saying, that's how you get money. That's how you make number go up, make it green, all this and that. So I think it just depends on how the person that uses AI, how it's set up, how it's even harnessed. Like even using Claude Code isn't even the best harness for Opus. It's like one of the worst from a lot of the benchmarks. I don't have that added on here, but it's out there. It's one of the worst. So if you're using Claude Code, you're actually worse off than where you are using like OpenCode or something. So like I said, it just depends on like how you set it up, how you use it. There's so much variation in that testing, I guess you could say. I'm skeptical. We'll see what happens. This is my 2 cents. Let me know your comments in below, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.